Welcome to an all-new End of the Bench. Today we're going to talk about E3, and we're here with our special guest, Adam Mickelsen, to talk about the predictions, what he thinks is going to go on around the gaming world. I'm Jesse Valdez, and this is David Vito. Go ahead, David Vito. Let's introduce him.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Again, Adam Mickelsen's our guest. Me and Adam started here on Radio SLCC, and now, Adam, when we first started here, I was still Sports at Home. You were the Evening of Geek Read. You've changed your name a little bit, haven't you?
We have. It has changed to Geek News, Reviews, and Opinions, because now, instead of just being the ramblings of one geek, it is now the ramblings of 3 to 4 geeks. So we've evolved. Can't you tell?
They have evolved.
And tell us a little bit about your show. Give us your air times where everyone can listen to you.
Sure thing. So, yes, we are on Radio SLCC, and we have actually changed times. A lot of people knew from this semester we were at 11 to 1, but since we're all geeks, we don't want to wake up that early. So now we are going to be on Thursday nights from 6 to 8 live. And then we do also put these episodes up on YouTube when they are edited and good to go as a podcast. So you can go there as well. What we discuss is really the events of the week, whether it be technology, whether it be gaming, whether it be movies, TV, comics, whatever's going on, especially even the controversies. We go into those and just have 3 geeks and reviewers talking about, maybe the newest games, the newest movies coming out, or our opinions on the controversies of the day.
And Adam's been a guest on Sports at Home. We had you on talking a little bit about the sports inside of the gaming world as well. We didn't really get a touch on the game we're going to talk about today. There's a big fella that's on TNT right now, and everyone loves to hate the guy. It's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, I believe he made a game in the past called Shaq
freaking Fu.
Shaq freaking Fu, huh?
That's my viewpoint of it. I'm trying to stay tasteful for people. Yes, he made this was back in the day when he did a bunch of media signings where he was doing Kazam and Steel. Yeah. And then he also did a game because apparently he's a video game fan. And around that time, fighting games were really popular. So Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, etc.
Oh, yeah.
So he decided to put in his own take called Shaq Fu, which bombed horribly.
So what did it get?
Let me put it this way. There is an entire website dedicated to the destruction of Shaq Fu cartridges.
Wow.
A lot of popular...
So worse than E.T., man?
I played both, so I can actually say I don't... The other thing also is a lot of major websites, like when they go to conventions, for example, screwattack.com, they'll go out and they'll bring a Shaq Fu cartridge, and they'll find some unique way to destroy it. So, like, they'll bring their fans in and say, bring a baseball bat, bring this or that or the other. Yeah. So Shaq Fu is not received at all well in the gaming world, but apparently the gaming world has forgiven him, and I didn't realize this.
Well, because he's back, isn't it? It's a brand new game coming out.
Yes. So Indiegogo launched Big D's Studios launched a campaign on Indiegogo to bring either a sequel or kind of a reimagining of Shaq Fu. And it's called Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. They were asking for $450,000.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I'm going to say that again. Wow. $450,000. And not only did they get that, they actually got almost $25,000 over. So it was like $473,000 to fund this project.
Okay.
Oh, man.
And it's just like, wait, I thought the gaming world was united on Shaq Fu. We don't want another one. We want to destroy it and make sure it never existed.
Yeah.
But apparently I didn't get the memo somewhere, and we like Shaq Fu now. So it's actually looking pretty good. It's more, instead of trying to be in a fighting game, it's more like a beat 'em up kind of game.
Okay. And
it's making fun of itself. They have a lot of really big moments where Shaq is just way over muscled, and he's got the big toothy grin that Shaq does, and
that's Shaq.
Well, off the what's not hot, let's go into the what's hot topic. E3, the big thing for video games, right?
Yes.
It's huge. So, what predictions do you have coming in for this year's E3?
My predictions are really just I'm trying to stay as non-biased as I can.
Yeah.
So one of the things that the big 3 have claimed, for those who don't know, E3 is called the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's where the biggest companies in gaming come together and showcase what they have coming either this year, this holiday season, or in years to come. So, for example, last year when we were having new consoles unveiled, E3 was when they decided to say, okay, we're going to bring our game libraries to it, which for some worked and for some didn't. This time around, my predictions are, Microsoft and Sony really are the only ones that have the biggest to prove, because they launched these big new consoles and they've done nothing with them.
Nothing.
They've had no game libraries, and on top of that, their current consoles, the PS3 and the 360, have game libraries for them for the next 2 to 3 years.
What do you think is the cause of that? What's making people not go out and have the library as big as, the PS3?
Well, first of all, the price tag is the biggest thing. I mean,
And they did drop it, didn't they? They're actually taking away the Kinect now for the Xbox.
oh, that's a whole can of worms. Okay,
That's to compete with the PS4.
Be
though,
careful,
right?
Jess, be careful.
people remember last summer I went off on Microsoft hard.
Okay.
So basically, this is one of the big Microsoft redactions where they sat there and said, "Oh, this needs to be in the system," and then 2 months later said, "Oh no, it doesn't."
The whole thing with the Xbox One coming out, they said it was the only
The
thing
system
I
had to
heard.
be on.
It was all these things. The games were there weren't gonna be hard copies of games. Blah blah blah. All
Yeah,
this.
because they were
And-
thinking everything's going
And
digital.
then out of nowhere, they switched their plan, and it kind of looks like
Yeah.
Sony's
So
one.
like the biggest thing also was
Copycat.
the sharing controversy where you couldn't share games because
Yeah.
every game would have a product key, and Microsoft quickly redacted that because Sony basically, pardon my
Made fun
French,
of them.
kicked their ass at E3 and said,
they
"Here's
even
our."
they even made it threw it in their face.
Yeah, they had major Sony executives say, "This is how we share games. Here you go, Vito.
I'll take it.
There you go." And that's the
Exactly.
PS4 commercial.
and Microsoft pretty much copied what they did. So it's like,
Yeah.
who do I go to? Somebody that actually had it right the first time, or somebody that's making up and doing what we're doing?
Well, and the biggest redaction thus far has been the fact that when they've been advertising the Xbox One, the Kinect was built into it and had to be a part of it.
And
Now
it
they're
was
saying
and it was more money too.
yeah, it was $500. So now they're saying nope, it actually doesn't need to be part of it, and they've actually remapped their whole Kinect plans because they're not selling, and so that's the biggest problem
man.
too.
Games are what make a system.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, that's one of the biggest problems they have right now is that when these games launched, they didn't have game libraries unique to them. Everything that was coming out at that time was also
everything.
coming out on PS3.
And that's why I don't
Yeah.
have. And personally, that's why I don't have an Xbox. The only games I'm interested in would be Halo, and
Yeah.
but that's it.
Yeah, the only major games that they had going for them at E3 last year were Titanfall, which wasn't due until next year.
Yeah.
And then they also had the Killer Instinct reboot, and that was enough for a lot of people to go out and buy Xbox Ones for a month and then turn it
Yeah,
back.
and see what I got out of the whole E3 thing when Xbox One was being announced and everything is, it was basically everything my dish hopper could do.
Pretty much.
TV, TV,
Wow.
TV.
It was
TV.
everything.
Wow.
We're bringing a video game TV series, TV, TV, TV.
And we're going to do a unique alliance with the NFL. Oh, by the way, Sony has the same contract too.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
The other thing also was that everything that they advertised in their unveilings for you, I mean, the biggest thing that you would care about is sports coverage, Netflix,
Yeah.
things like that. Everything that their new consoles could do, the current consoles.
It pretty much did
Yeah.
everything. It does everything but do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I swear, like, people would look at the PS3 as a better console than the PS4 because it wasn't all around like console, and then the PS4 is. They took away things that the PS3 had that were awesome.
Well, like what though?
The biggest thing, obviously, when the PS4 and the Xbox One got unveiled was that their advertising campaign was they were a media machine.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
an
problem was is that
entertainment,
the PS3 and the 360 were media machines too. So this wasn't anything new. The biggest thing that they had to say was now you can stream live from your console. Oh wait, you could do that already. You just needed additional hardware. But now they're saying, you could do this directly via Twitch. Now we're not even sure how that's going to work because Twitch supposedly has worked out to be able to get bought by Google or YouTube. So we don't even know how that's going to work anymore. But overall, I mean, that's been the biggest problem for both the consoles. They toted all of these features that nobody really cared about and did not have game libraries to support them.
And you know what? I look at it as they're like, it's an entertainment system. We want something for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, that happened a long time ago.
Whereas-
Why do we?
Yeah.
Whereas 2 generations ago, the advertisement would be totally focused towards the games. They would give you a reason to buy the console because there would be, like, the new Call of Duty would not be on this console. It would be on the next one.
No offense, I can't stand Call of Duty.
Well, I'm using that as an example.
But like with the NES, they used that to market their system because video games were essentially dead at that time, and they were bringing them back.
Pretty much.
So they were if they marketed it as a video game system, it would have failed.
Well, that was the problem, is that they didn't market it as a video game system, and everybody went, but that's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And so at that point, it just failed horribly. Now at this one, they're basically doing the tagline of, oh, we've learned from our mistakes, and we're going to actually have libraries, and we're going to give you a reason to purchase the new consoles. And right now, we don't know what that is.
So let me tell you, we're talking about how games make a system. Any games in particular that you are interested with E3?
For Microsoft, not really. I'm more interested in Rare being there because Rare has been part of their Kinect team for a long time. And now they've been, quote, taken off the leash because Kinect is not on their priority anymore. And 2 days later, they started layoffs.
I have a grudge on Microsoft because they tend to take companies or whatever that are helping them, and they just destroy them and make them nothing. I mean, Rare, come on.
Electronic Arts.
Exactly. I don't like it. You know.
I'm going to get you in trouble.
EA Sports, man. Hey, I'm cool with EA Sports. I'm cool with them.
But see, EA, they're this company that just takes everything and then destroys it as well. I can't stand EA. I can't stand Activision, and I can't stand what Microsoft did to Rare. I loved Rare because I grew up with like the Nintendo systems, Donkey Kong, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, you know, and
well, the problem was that Microsoft paid way too much money for Rare.
They paid for it.
And then at that point, they went, oh, crap. We spent way too much money on this company.
For them to make Kinect games?
And then basically made them their Kinect people, roughly. I could use another word, but I'm gonna say edited. So at that point, my predictions for Microsoft aren't that strong. We're gonna see Halo 5, obviously.
And I'll be kind of excited for that. At least it comes out every few years, not every 6 months.
And the Halo series. The two series will be there. Sony actually has a little bit more to the table that they're bringing. We don't really know about Nintendo, aside from the Smash Brothers Invitational, and
I know, I wish I would have gotten
where they redacted their plans because, you know, originally nobody from Nintendo was supposed to be coming to E3. They were just going to do their direct. Really? Now we've confirmed that Satoru Iwata, the president, and Reggie Fils-Aimé are coming out to E3.
What's up with Nintendo feeling like they need to be distant from the competition?
From the other ones?
It's like, I think they're kind of, it's a stubbornness thing.
Because
they're a stubbornness thing.
It's not a stubbornness thing. It really is that they've been spending way too much money trying to get people out, to get like Shigeru Miyamoto and a bunch of dev kits and things like that out from Japan to go to E3. So in a lot of cases, Nintendo Direct is the best decision that they've made.
Yeah.
Because it's more cost effective, and they can start showing off stuff that they wouldn't necessarily do if they were paying
and it would work properly. The video games or the system.
Yeah, they'd have their dev kits. They wouldn't have to work like the biggest controversy.
Go ahead.
The biggest controversy was when the Wii U was being unveiled. The dev kit that they were using was not a Wii U. It was a PS3 dev kit that they were using to show off the games. Okay, well that sucks because at that point it makes people question, can your Wii U actually do that?
Yeah.
And yes, it could. If they'd done it in Japan, then they would have had their own dev kits. But they said no, we can't afford it. So this is actually a good decision, but it does make you wonder. They're bringing out like two of the most recognized people within their office. So at that point, is it a console unveiling? Is it a big game in development? Stuff like that. So we don't know what Nintendo has in store.
And when the Reginator comes, you know it's serious, right?
When Reggie Fils-Aimé comes, you know that it's going to be a good show because his body is always ready. So, but like I said, the biggest expectation is from Sony because they have the longest list of games that they've unveiled. They've already said that Uncharted 4 will be there with a full, I think it was 3 to 6 minute actual in-game engine demo. And that's got a lot of people interested because a lot of people have been leaving the company that makes Uncharted. Naughty Dog has been losing a lot of people from like the Last of Us team and the Uncharted directors. So we want to see what that's about. They're unveiling... I don't know if you've seen this from past E3s. The Last Guardian is coming back, even though it's been canceled and brought back and canceled. But all of this is geared towards their PS4 lineup. I can guarantee you some other third-party developers like EA, they're bringing their Star Wars games into the mix. Activision will have the next Call of Duty with Kevin Spacey in it. And the other big one also, obviously, will be some of the Japanese companies. Capcom's going to be there with Shinji Mikami to advertise The Evil Within, which is his retake on survival horror, because Resident Evil's gone to the crap heap. And let's see, we've got Konami, they're going to be coming. We don't know what they're bringing. And then also Square Enix will be there because there are Kingdom Hearts fans out there.
Yeah.
They want to know what's in 3.
Well, let's backtrack real quick about you said EA is kind of like, you're not a big fan of them, obviously.
I don't hate EA.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen companies rise and fall under the banner of EA. So where I understand the whole thing with you, I mean, for me that was Origin Systems. Where they were making the Ultimate series, and then EA got them and destroyed that whole thing. So I get that concept, but at the same time, we've seen companies like BioWare rise with EA and create Mass Effect and Star Wars: The Old Republic. So at that point, it's just EA. When EA actually gets involved, then it's bad news. But if they actually sit back and let the developer do their thing,
it's just publishers just want the money. You look at Call of Duty and Activision, right? And it's like they just squeeze out a game every single. Like, I swear,
like every 6 months.
Well, the way that they do that is they have 3 separate teams.
I mean, you go get the game, right? And then a week later, you hear. I'm just, like, when I saw the new what's the new Call of Duty coming out? I already lost track.
I don't even know.
Anyways, for the new trailer,
Sorry, COD fans.
I swear that they announced the new Call of Duty that's coming out after the new one. And they do that,
and most likely that Call of Duty is going to come out. It's going to be probably the last game we might see on PS3 and Xbox 360, right?
Thing, man. Why are people getting the games that are the same game over and over? At least with like Halo, it comes out every year. But I could feel good.
Well, to bring this right back to David Vito is Electronic Arts. What's the thing that they're most well known for? Madden. For crying out loud. Every year it's the same dang thing.
Madden shouldn't come out every year.
Exactly.
But the only reason, there's a lot of sports fans. I mean, I'm a big Madden fan, and I would buy the game every year just because.
A $60 price tag for
the only
the same
thing that
game?
sucks is that the rosters update all the time.
It updates so.
But the only thing that sucks is that people, if there's a way to. I wish there was a way to make a cheaper game where every year you just buy one game, and then every year it updates the roster automatically, and they can put.
Unless it's something special,
Well, at that point, the idea that I brought to you, which has been proposed to EA a lot of times, which was instead of putting out a full $60 game every year under the same engine and all that, why not just simply do the roster updates as downloadable content?
Well,
because then at that point,
for it,
where it would be cheaper. Ultimately, it would be like a $15 pack, and I can guarantee you, I know of at least 10 or 20 people who have not bought a single sports game in 10 years because they got sick and tired of paying $60. They'd come back for 15. That would be way more justified.
But there's a lot of people and a lot of sports fans that are going to pay that no matter what.
Yeah, but it loses value within freaking 3 months.
That's true.
I just don't get that.
And that's because the season ends so quickly in certain sports.
Well, and another thing that would also help sports games, and I know it's been proposed a dozen times, where another company wants to come in and doesn't necessarily want to do like a Madden. They want to do like a bombastic kind of like NBA Jam kind of thing,
Blitz.
or Blitz.
Yeah, Blitz.
And since EA is the only one that holds the license to these leagues, they're not really able to do that. And if at that point 2K Games or Activision came in and said, all right, let's make this game, it at least would be something of competition. I actually, EA made the biggest advertisement last year of they're going to get the UFC license. Wouldn't it be interesting if 2K also released the UFC game? Because then at that point, it would actually give Electronic Arts something of competition.
Yeah, but we never see that anymore.
You don't see that. I haven't seen
you don't see
Sega or 2K.
Well, you see 2K with NBA games. There's no EA game anymore. There used to be NBA Live.
Yes,
but 2K taking that away. Madden's going to take out anyone that releases if 2K releases a game, I think.
All I'm saying, and I heard this from the famous Adam Sessler, if anyone remembers him from
Revision 3.
Revision 3. Now he's gone there. I hear he's out of the whole. He said, "How can you miss something that won't go away?" And that's all I'm saying. How can you miss something that is just continuing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. In a lot of cases, one of the things that would really help to rejuvenate Madden and a lot of these other ones is, first of all, don't make a full $60 game when it's just the exact same engine And everything is about the same except the roster is different.
I mean,
At that point, you might as well just release it as downloadable content and just say it's the 2015 roster.
now I agree.
Yes.
Like, every year, don't get me wrong, when I sit down and play
Or even better, Electronic Arts, every 6 months. That way you make up for it, kind of thing.
I mean, you sit down and you play a Madden game or an NBA game or maybe FIFA or MLB. I mean, you can play that for the whole season. But then all of a sudden, when the season's over and the rosters aren't updated, the rookies aren't into it, you're thinking, man, this game's horrible. There's no point for me to play it anymore because I don't got the updated rosters. I don't got the new rookies coming in.
Exactly.
I don't got their ratings and all that. And that's what makes people want to come by the games, I think, every year. You watch the NFL draft. Your favorite NFL team drafts, like the Cleveland Browns, drafted Johnny Manziel this year. All the Cleveland Browns fans are going to go out there, I'm going to buy this game because I get to play with Johnny Manziel, actually.
Yeah, but the other thing that they would even, Electronic Arts would be, I guarantee you, like they've been the worst company of the year for 2 years running. If they actually announced it was downloadable content, I guarantee you nobody would be speaking ill of EA at all this year because they did that. Because at that point, Electronic Arts would lose a lot of the flack that they've been getting, especially after the year they had last year with cloud games like SimCity and Battlefield 4. That would actually kind of redeem them in a way. So that would actually be good for them. But overall, I mean, really the only thing EA has to bring this year to E3 is they've got the Star Wars license. They have 2 teams working on it. We're going to get a Battlefield or Star Wars Battlefront reboot by DICE. So a lot of people are like, you broke Battlefield 4. We don't know if we want to trust you with this. Visceral Studios, who does the Dead Space games, the games that are supposed to scare your mom, but you're like 30, so she's never going to see them. Visceral's also working on a new one. In fact, that was one of the biggest controversies with Naughty Dog, where the head writer for Uncharted 4 left to go to Visceral Studios to start working on the Star Wars game. So we're interested to see what's going to come out of that. Obviously, we're going to get sports games announcements. We're going to have LeBron James come up, or I guess if they don't have NBA anymore, it'll be FIFA and all the other ones they have.
And FIFA's been a really big game lately.
Yes.
And you got to realize soccer's a worldwide sport. It's starting to come to America now. Yeah, the World Cup's coming this year in Brazil. But
FIFA's one of the existing sports games right now that does really well.
And I believe they're making a FIFA World Cup video game, which is going to be it's going to be worldwide. Because soccer's popular outside the United States. Everyone knows that. It's starting to get really popular here in the United States, especially here in Utah where we got Real right down the road.
Exactly. So at that point, and to my knowledge, FIFA right now is the one sports franchise that earns a lot of the money.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Madden still has its dedicated people, but FIFA has been getting slow momentum.
Starting to get different users and different buyers, and not just soccer fans playing the game.
Yeah, if anything, I would actually say that FIFA would be a money getter for them, so they'll bring them out. The racing games will be there, so there will be a need for speed or something like that. And then also UFC, which is because a lot of people are like, okay, where's UFC going to go? Especially with big celebrities now kind of joining.
What's your take on the UFC? Do you think it's the UFC video game? Do you think it's gonna succeed? I mean, they've had it in the past, but they stopped the line because obviously it wasn't doing that well. But that was at a different time when UFC was really starting to build up. Now UFC is pretty popular.
If they built a good enough engine to it. I mean, the UFC has the same problem that I think like wrestling games had back in the day, where they are way too complex to play.
Yeah.
But when the wrestling games went bombastic and made things really simple and streamlined, they did really well. I remember WWE All-Stars did really well because not only was it a homage to the past, but it played really easily. So at that point, if UFC did that too, and they even offered like some of these celebrities that are going in, like for example, Jason David Frank, who, for people who don't know Power Rangers, he's like the most popular Power Ranger and gets brought in for everything. He's in the UFC, so bring him into the thing. Brock Lesnar, who is done wrestling and football and UFC and then back to wrestling and then back to football and then back to UFC. Yeah. Make him a big advertising statement. That would work for him.
He was on the cover, I think, the last real UFC game that was out. I mean,
yes.
That was the real, I think, most popular one when he was out. And then you bring up wrestling. I think wrestling, they just left THQ to go to 2K.
No. THQ went bankrupt.
Okay.
THQ went bankrupt, and part of the reason is that WWE was pouring lots of money into them, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh, this company's gone bankrupt. We're calling in all our debts now.
And they left to 2K, and I think that might have been a good move for them.
Actually, I don't think they've officially said who their licensing is going to go towards.
For this upcoming year?
Yeah, so that'll be the other big thing, too, is who is going to be doing, like, the next WWE game.
Okay. You think there's going to be a lot of people maybe grabbing for that title?
I know a lot of people, when the THQ auctions happened, some of the major stuff was ripped from them fairly quickly. Now, one of the franchises that wasn't, that a lot of people went, oh my gosh, was the Darksiders franchise. That went to Nordic Games, and who knows if anything's going to happen there. But THQ, when the auctions happened, I think WWE had already worked something out, but I don't know with which company. I don't think it was EA. I think it might have been 2K is where it went.
So let's wrap it up a little bit.
We're
so much geeky things to talk about.
Where are you going to be watching E3? Anywhere? Anywhere in particular that you're going to be following them?
I will be the epitome of geek, and I'll be watching it at home on the streams. Just because I can't go out to California myself and attend.
They used to have it for everybody, but
now it's just press passes. So at that point, that's where I'm going to be watching it. We are actually on Geek News Reviews and Opinions. We are going to be covering it. So the week before, we'll be talking about our E3 expectations, what we want to see there, what might be there. The other thing also that I forgot to bring in with EA is Disney Infinity, because they're going to announce a new Marvel expansion. So that'll be there too. And then also, the week of E3, we actually probably won't be getting into entertainment that much. We'll be analyzing the Microsoft conference, the Sony conference, just to see if they did everything we wanted them to do.
And kind of what we were talking before the show about, where I used to watch E3,
Yeah.
G4, and
fan. I just think of cups.
Cops, Ninja Warrior,
And
Cheaters.
Cheaters.
No, there was a time when that show was awesome, and
But the problem was the G4 only had like 3 shows to their name. They had Attack of the Show, they had Adam Sessler's one, because I don't think Attack of the Show was
Attack of the Show, X-Play were
X-Play.
the final
That was
2
Sessler's.
original content shows.
Yeah,
But
and then
there
after
was-
that, they were done.
But there was before those shows, there was Cinematech, which was like trailers of video games. There was Arena, where you watch people play video games, and compete. You had stuff like Reviews on the Run with what's his name? Tommy Tallarico and Victor Lucas.
Well, here's the thing. Tommy Tallarico went on to do
Video Games Live.
So,
And Victor Lucas did another show that was on G4, and then it's still going, except for now it's called EP instead of Electric Playground.
Yes.
That is on Reels and locally on like Utah, whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I kind of watch it just to see him here and there.
All right, like Jesse said, though, we got to really wrap this up, Adam, real quick. Give them your times and your Twitter handles and Facebook where they can find you on.
So we are going to be on at 6 o'clock today, and we're going to be discussing some stories of the day that are kind of interesting, so especially regarding Nintendo and YouTube. So I would say join us here on radioslcc.com. If you want to catch us later, you can go to youtube.com/drac2326. That is my YouTube channel, and that's where Geek News right now is going. If you want to get with the social networking in order to contact us, you can contact me at twitter.com/drac2326, and you can like us on Facebook, and it's facebook.com/geeknewsreviewsandopinions.
And also, we're going to have a follow-up with you after E3 happens. So stay tuned for that.
Just remember, right after Sports at Home on Thursdays, Adam's right after us. He's really good. Great insight on anything geek-related, gaming, movies, like he said. He follows us Thursdays from we're 2 to 4. There's a little break there. Then Adam's right after us. He trusts me. I've been around with him. I followed him actually before we moved to the new studio.
Yep.
So,
I was the guy last summer that was coupled under 3 different sports shows, and then I would get the people coming up and going, "Thank you. Everybody's been covering the draft."
And I'm sure there's a lot that he would like to, cover. I mean, obviously we would like to, but we're running out of time. We're running short. So, we'll follow up on the follow-up.
Make sure, comment below anything you want to ask Adam. We'll get his questions to you as well. I'm David Vito. This is Jesse Valdez. Adam, thank you for stopping by.
It's always been a pleasure.
And this is End of the Bench.
All right.
All right.
How appropriate. I'm a bench warmer.
Yeah.